Hi there, welcome back on the channel. As you can see, we have another Volvo today. Yeah, I know I already reviewed this exact model, but it's actually not similar with the other one because this one is in a more spicy configuration, to say in this manner. It's actually the T8. What does that mean? I'll talk about it in a moment. Regarding actually this particular model, it's manufactured in 2021 and it has done about 50,000 kilometers until now. Alright, so let's see, what does the T8 means? Well, compared with the B5 that I already reviewed, we have the same 2-liter petrol engine, with one exception actually. That one was only with a turbocharger. This one is also supercharged, and all of that means that the output of the petrol engine is at around 300 horsepower and about 400 newton meters. And then we also have an electric motor, which is on the rear side of the car, and by itself develops something like 90 horsepower and about 240 newton meters, which again should make you smile, because you have, combining the two systems, almost 400 horsepower and about 600 and something newton meters. Well, hold your horses. It's not necessarily true, because with almost all hybrids and plug-in hybrids, you are not really able to add those values, at least not at 100% efficiency, let's say, in this manner. For a brief moment, you could use the total output of the system, but as I said, it's only something like a peak power. Most of the time, you use a bit of electric with a bit of petrol. But even so, the sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in about 4.5 or 4.6 seconds, which is quite impressive considering the fact that we have an automatic gearbox, and the overall weight of the car is set around 2 tons. For a medium sedan, once again, it's quite a lot. And to go over the specs, yeah, the top speed is limited to 180 kilometers per hour, and in terms of consumptions, they're not amazing, even though it's a plug-in hybrid, but it's not necessarily one meant for consumptions, for low consumptions. It's actually meant for performance. And talking with the owner, he states that outside the city you could see values between 8 to 10 liters on national roads, on highways, obeying the speed limit, obviously. But inside the city, here in Bucharest at least, it goes to around 15-16 liters. Yeah, I know. But once again, it's not necessarily a frugal system. It's more oriented towards sprints and acceleration figures and something like that. And considering the look of the car with this R-Design spec, I mean, do you really care about consumptions? It's gorgeous. It could have been with some tinted windows, but other than that, I would not change a thing about it. Now let's check out the trunk area. Even though we have a plug-in hybrid, surprisingly enough, you don't lose any cargo area. As you can see, we have the usual carry-on luggage in here, and I reckon you can squeeze about 5 or 6 of them in this luggage compartment. Yeah, compared with some other models, you do not have any additional space under the boot floor. But other than that, it's completely identical with any other configuration. On the rear bench, actually, I should say unsurprisingly, you do have nice materials back here, with soft and squeegee material up here, even softer on the armrest, with some additional covers inside here and on the door card. Well, actually it's only on this side, not on the whole area, with an additional pocket in here, some piano black anyway, and the heated rear bench with light fixtures and a central armrest, which I'm not necessarily able to open, but you do get some storage space inside here in this compartment, another one here, and a couple of cup holders in here. This is the space back here. As you can see, I do have plenty of knee room, with the front chair in line with the B-pillar actually, and something about a palm of space for my head as well. But I'm not really able to stretch my legs, at least not without getting the front chair a bit up compared with this position. And yeah, you do have quite an extensive center tunnel in here, and also the bench is way shorter than I would like to, and it's a bit lower again compared with my preferences. But other than that, yeah, you do have interesting materials all the way, some air vents, heated seats, so all in all it's fine back here. Going towards the front passenger, obviously we do have the same good quality materials on the door card like we had in the back. Also here on the armrest you do have an ability to lock or unlock the doors from the inside with the sound system, which is quite nice on this model. And some interesting seats, because we have the R design. They are quite sporty, with some sort of a textile and sort of a leather or leatherette on the outside and on the central part of the seat. Weird, but anyway, with quite a lot of adjustments. Even though they're not electrical, you can only raise the seat from here and adjust the lumbar support. All the other things are done through this lever, and the first part of the seat can be raised by this one here. And we also have an extension, which again is my favorite part with those seats. Having a seat inside the car, well, the front chair is a bit forward, but even so I do have a couple of fingers of space for my knees, with some softish materials here on the center console, and quite a large glove box, which is covered all the way in felt. Let's go forward with the driver's side of the interior. You do have the electric windows, the outside mirrors, locking and unlocking of the doors once again, and memory function on this part. Then with the driver's side, the seat is also electrically adjustable in all manners, including this front part of the extension of the base of the seat, which can be controlled from here. Then we have the interior lighting, the opening of the trunk area, and the fuel filler cap. Taking a seat inside the car, the door closing sound is actually quite good, as you would otherwise expect from a premium manufacturer. This is the driver POV. The steering wheel is not that sporty. Actually, it's not our design steering wheel, but at least we do have physical controls. Even though they're quite shiny, they are physical. You do have to touch them, press them, not just touch. Then we have the usual stocks, the gauge cluster, which is not the highest in terms of contrast, but at least you could see the map in there. We have the light fixture with the power tailgate, not tailgate, sunroof in this case. A dimmable mirrorless, frameless mirror. What the heck is wrong with me today? And the infotainment screen, which is something to get used to, but at least you do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The climate unit is also embedded in here, and it's not so great actually, but anyway, once again, you can get used to it. At least we have a volume control here and some other physical buttons for the demist. The gear selector with the park function on the button. You switch from here the engine to start or stop. We also have on this here the drive select button. We have the parking brake, the auto hold function, a couple of cup holders that can be closed with this lid, and the armrest. It's actually tiny, the space inside, and you do get a couple of USB-A ports and a 12-volt outlet. Welcome to the driving part of the review, today with the S60. And as you can probably saw at the static review, it's not an ordinary S60, it's actually the top of the line, the T8. Which means that we have a plug-in hybrid. So I figured that we should start driving in electric power only. This actually makes the whole experience pretty easy, pretty comfortable. You don't hear almost anything. Some of the tire noise are protruding inside the cabin, but that's pretty much it, at least at city speeds. The whole feel of the car, it's actually quite light. The steering, the pedals, the gearbox even, I was not able to feel gear changes in electric power. So yeah, for everyday use, if you are trying to go, I don't know, maybe your commute happens between 20 towards 30 kilometers inside the city every day, you could actually use this configuration as an electric car. And in my opinion, it's quite nice because you could have lower running costs, especially if you could charge the car every day. And if you have solar panels on your house, I mean, come on, you're most likely going on that period of time, on that 20 to 30 kilometers on free charge, actually. So why not? Yeah, obviously the interesting part happens when you do start the engine, the petrol engine, and more so when you switch the car from hybrid mode into power mode, which is sort of an sport mode on other platforms, but in a way that makes sure the system uses all its components to the maximum available power when you really need it. You don't necessarily feel a change in gearbox, at least, because there's always that electric motor that compensates the shortcomings of gear changing, and the whole experience, it's actually pretty smooth. I mean, when you go from, I don't know, 50 to 90, 100 kilometers per hour, you barely feel that anything happens when you push the right pedal. But you do have to be careful to look at the gauge cluster. Well, actually, on this car, we also have a head-up display, which is, again, quite helpful. I didn't notice it on the static review. It's quite helpful to keep an eye on your current speed, because you don't really feel it inside the cabin. I drove the car for a moment, and at one time I was doing about 80, but I was feeling a sensation similar to one in another model going at about 40 or 50 kilometers per hour. So yeah, you do have to be a bit careful with the speed, because you don't really feel it inside the cabin. So I'm gonna switch from electric to hybrid. I saw that the suspension also depends on the mode of the car. In pure or hybrid, you have more compliant suspension. It's actually quite comfortable, even though we don't have air suspension. It's interesting what they managed to do with regular suspension, well, adaptive suspension, considering the weight of the car at almost 2 tons. It deals with bumps and potholes. Quite impressive. Maybe it helps the fact that we are only running on 18 inches in terms of the rims. So yeah, that could be a factor. And also, this car is on a set of new tires, so maybe they're a bit soft. But even so, as I said, it's impressive what the engineers managed to do with just an coil spring and an adaptive damper. Anyway, getting back to the whole driving feel, when you want to enjoy the car, you have to use the power mode, which yeah, makes the whole experience a bit stiff, as you probably saw. But in a way, it's more communicative with the driver. The steering feel gets a bit tighter, and also you have the petrol engine running always in the background. We're about to get on the highway in a moment, and I'll do a short sprint if traffic allows it, so you can see what the total power output of the car is. You do have to give way. Thank you. So we are gonna go to about 100 kilometers for the moment, and after we do the short trip on the highway, we are gonna come back towards the city and accelerate to about 130. But let's see. That was it. No gear change. It was not necessary. You do get a bit of whine from the compressor, which is nice. But obviously, being a well-insulated car, you have to drive without any music or sound system on to be able to hear it. But even so, that's one of the main advantages of the platform. It's a well-insulated car, something to be expected because it is a premium manufacturer, Volvo. But it's quite surprising because it's not necessarily a large car. I would much rather expect something like this. I mean, the level of comfort and the noise levels inside the cabin with the larger the S90 model. But no, it is present here with the S60 as well. It's a well-insulated car, at least on the lower side of the car. On the top part, it seems a bit okay, just a plastic bag. It seems a bit louder because we also have a sunroof, and it's actually quite a large one. But even so, at highway speed, it's more than fine. Also, the suspension is quite compliant, as I said, in hybrid mode. When you switch it to power, it gets a bit rough. But for everyday use, you'll probably keep it in hybrid or electric power only. So once again, a nice surprise. So yeah, for the most part, I enjoy it. We're gonna go outside the speed limit zone in a moment, but until now, I'll talk about the maintenance of the car. Obviously, being a petrol engine, you could go to around, I don't know, maybe 10,000 kilometers between oil changes, even though it's a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid more so. Yeah, you should still maintain the car more often. And also the gearbox, maybe at around 80 to 100,000 kilometer stops, should benefit from an oil change as well. And I don't know, maybe the tires, the brakes, probably. It's quite a heavy vehicle at around 2 tons, as I said, but it depends on the way that you use the car. If you're enjoying it often, you might have to replace the brakes and the tires. If you don't, it's not necessarily gonna be a problem. Other than that, you don't have a traditional all-wheel drive system, so it doesn't require any maintenance. God damn it. What the heck was that? Anyway, so yeah, it's not much to talk about in terms of maintenance. Now we are outside the speed limit zone, and I'll go towards 130 for a moment. In a heartbeat. I mean, yeah, you do hear the engine, but it's not necessarily the instant that you're pushing the throttle, because the first thing it's the electric motor, and then comes the gearbox, and then you have the right band for the engine, and it kicks in. So it's not necessarily the increase in speed is not necessarily in line with the noise of the engine. Something to be expected in a hybrid, and you'll get used to it without a problem. But it is something to keep in mind, because you could actually go past the speed limit without noticing it. Alright, so we're gonna get off the highway and go on the bumpy stretch. So I put the car back in hybrid mode. I've already drove it once through there, and in power mode it's, as I said, a bit rough, but more than fine in hybrid. You do feel the bumps, obviously, but it's not uncomfortable. That's the main part. And after we turn around, we're gonna get back on the highway towards the city. We're gonna do the sprint from I don't know, we'll see, 30-40 kilometers per hour towards the speed limit. And I'll share the things that I enjoy about the car, and the things that I'm not necessarily a fan of while returning towards the city. Yeah, I don't have a twisty road, at least on this stretch, so I needed to see something about the overall handling of the car. If you're using it in power mode, it actually stays quite flat, and it's impressive considering the weight. But in hybrid, it tends to lean about a couple of degrees in corners. So yeah, you have to switch the driving modes if you want to get the most out of it. But even so, compared with some newer cars nowadays that you have to go inside the menus and switch the driving mode, at least here we still get this rocker, which is easily accessible, and yeah, it's a pleasure actually to use it. So yeah, once again, I do miss physical buttons and physical controls inside the cabin. Anyway, I'm maintaining a speed of around 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, and as I said, it's not uncomfortable. Unfortunately, the road is one of the poorest surface that I could find in order to review cars, and yeah, in a way it's a good thing for me because I can review them and compare them. But on the other hand, come on, if you would have to drive on something like this for more than 5 minutes, I think you should probably choose not to. But it depends on the type of car that you're driving. So in a moment we are gonna get back on the highway. It's actually pretty crowded today. We do have a bit of traffic. It's actually the start of the season for holidays or whatever, and it's actually the weekend, the end of the weekend, so yeah, I was expecting a bit of traffic, but still I think we could just try the sprint, and then, as I said, I will explain my conclusion and actually end the presentation there. Let me just switch the car once again to power mode. Now I figured that it is something that is missing from the gauge cluster, and there's an oil temperature. I would have liked it to be shown, but let's get back to the sprint. That's it. And nearly didn't need the whole way to get back on the highway to be able to reach the top speed that is allowed here in Romania on public highways. So once again, it's impressive. And it's impressive the fact that it's still composed, it's still comfortable while accelerating hard, even in power mode. So yeah, I like it. But let me switch it back to hybrid. Alright, so welcome back. I had to take a short commercial break. No, I'm kidding. I run out of battery with one of the cameras, and it's something that I'm expecting once again to happen. So I'll try to wrap up the presentation. Yeah, I was talking about the things that I enjoyed about the car, and it's actually the way that you could configure in a heartbeat everything about the car. If you want to drive it comfortably, you just leave it in comfort, in hybrid mode, and it does all the settings for you. You don't have to worry about anything. If you want to enjoy it, just one push of a button, switch it to power mode, and it changes completely. It still remains a comfortable car, but the one that you would actually want to enjoy. Sometimes sporty cars, or I don't know, some edition of regular cars that are made by manufacturers a bit more sporty, tend to be way harsher and uncomfortable to enjoy even on a twisty road. So that's why I like this one. You could just switch it to power and still have a decent level of comfort inside the cabin. And it adds, and that's actually the second thing that I enjoyed about this vehicle, the feeling of comfort. It's added by the seats. I mean, come on, you could have any height or weight. and you will not be able to miss your sitting position. It's actually one of the most body hugging and comfortable in the same time seat that I encountered so far. Yeah, so in a way, those are the things that I enjoyed while reviewing this car. And to quickly go through the things that I'm not necessarily a fan, once again, it's the piano black inside the cabin, because it's quite an extensive use of piano black, and especially on contact surfaces like the center console and around the infotainment screen. So you do have to be careful not to scratch it, to wipe it clean most of the time. So yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan. And also the whole interaction with the gauge cluster, the infotainment screen, you do have to get used to them. I feel like in terms of the gauge cluster, they could have implemented something more to get a bit more out of it. But yeah, you could change the theme and also have the map inside there, which is nice, obviously. But it doesn't show you the oil temperature, or you are not able to really configure the things that are shown on the gauge cluster. But yeah, for the most part, those are the only downsides that I encountered about the vehicle. It's quite an interesting one, even more so in this configuration, the T8. And yeah, it's the sort of car that can be your only car. It does well inside the city, it does well outside the city, and it's fun when you want it to be fun. What more could you ask for? I mean, and it's not an SUV, so again, for me, it's a plus. Anyway, I'll try to wrap it up here because I'm afraid of the battery of the camera once again. But if you enjoyed what you saw, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. You could actually leave your impressions in the comment section, because I also have the B5 configuration already reviewed on Cars Reviewed on my older channel, and you can compare the two. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, thank you for watching.